Alright, welcome back to DZR, the next episode of Day 2, of course, a special day with Microsoft, Sony, Ubisoft making a big scenes. And today, in particular, we want to focus on Sony and their mission. Sony came out blazing with an orchestra. They had a 18-piece or so orchestra out the front, playing all the tunes of the tracks for all the games that came up for it. So, and of course, they had a very theatrical scene. So it was a very different I think overall conference for Sony, a bit more classical and conservative in their approaches. They hit off with God of War, and they had a I think it's Days Gone. Golden, you saw the Days Gone trailer, that zombie trailer?
I did. It was amazing. I did. I liked it.
Yeah, it felt a bit like Walking Dead, but just you're constantly on the run, you're constantly moving. There's environmental contraptions that you can use to destroy the enemies and to carve through all the zombies and whatnot. I mean, it looked drab and scary and all those things, I guess, that a good zombie game does. But we saw quite a few zombie games, so maybe I'm a bit zombied out.
So many zombies.
Yeah, I was gonna say the zombie thing's been going on for a while now. It's like I still I'm into it. That's fine, but man,
give me a werewolf.
There
giant,
you go.
A dwarf, goblin.
Yeah, it's a gargoyle or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I remember I loved watching it. That now I'm trying to describe it. I just nearly fell asleep. So I don't know. It could just be the whole zombie thing. But fortunately, preceding the Days Gone trailer, we got a release date for the game that never had a release date. And of course, if you know what we're talking about, it's Last Guardian. It's hitting October 25, 2016. That game has been on the delay platform, on the delay platter for, years. Good old Bird Dog is back. Team Eco are punching it out. Golden, you looked pretty excited with the flying dog.
I didn't play the first one, and you know what? I'm almost happy that I didn't, because I'm going to be able to play this with new eyes for the first time. And just the trailer itself, and watching that gameplay, I already built a connection with the is a dog. What is it? I don't want to butcher it here. Is it a dog with wings? Is that kind of, it's whatever it is, but the relationship.
It's called Bird Dog. You gotta call it Bird Dog.
Bird dog. Okay.
Bird
Sounds
Dog.
like a bad beer.
Yeah, those two. I just thought it was the relationship that they built between this kid and the bird dog were quite emotional. And watching that, I was like, oh man, what if this thing dies at the end? I'm gonna lose it, so I'm excited, man. A lot of emotion, and the graphics look good, and I'm pumped. I'm ready for this one.
Yeah, it's something that, as I said, I think a lot of the community's been waiting for. It's a core audience. Make no mistake, this is not a PS4 seller, but it's a very, very niche market, but there's a lot of core followers that love it. And so this is just I think a huge community surge for Sony, and it worked brilliantly because it looked, oh man, as I said, I think I was impressed. And just the way that they can combine that sort of kind of ethereal graphic design with that sort of cartoon sheen. It just looked, oh man, you just want to play it, pick up a controller. So one thing that we saw, of course, as well, Golden, was Horizon. And to my dismay, I think it was only about 3 weeks ago, they did announce that Horizon has been delayed to 2017. So, I don't know, Golden, this game is like a childhood dream.
I think the look of it is amazing. I like the combat system. It almost reminds me of a Dark Souls mechanic, the way you're fighting, the way you roll, and a Gears of War kind of fight system. Because you know how when you throw your grenade or whatever, you got the line that comes out and it tells you the trajectory that your shell is going to go at. And with the slingshot and the bow, and then with the crit points and all that, I liked it. The graphics look good. My thing is, where I am and gaming right now is I'm all about co-op and PvP, because we've built such a community, and it's a lot of fun to play with your friends. And hopefully, if this game does have some sort of a story co-op, then I'm gonna be really, really excited.
Yeah, it's something special. I mean, it's robotic dinosaurs. I mean, come on! Like, what can you not love about the design of this game? And as you said, when she approached one of those enemies, the main character, I can't remember her name now, but she approaches one of the giant dinosaurs, and it's got certain components on it, and she said that she's after one of these and one of these. So it's sort of like you're farming these beasts for the components that they have upon them that make them that particular beast. And of course, then I presume then you're going to use those for some sort of construction or crafting later on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's going to be there has to be a crafting system. But the fact that you can go farming for that, already right there, I'm in. If I gotta go grind something, go. Well, I mean, you know what though? I mean, I've bought most of the games that have come out, and I have them, and I've enjoyed them. I really have. But the thing is, I'm just a sucker for a raid or any kind of co-op stuff, to where you got to rely on your buddies to do it, and then of course there's PvP. So.
Is this the influence of Destiny? Is this a Destiny Division thing that's really sort of taken you on a whole different gameplay journey?
You nailed it right on the head, sir. You nailed it. Before that I played, I was a huge...
I'm a psychologist. Tell me about your mother.
Yeah. Well, she didn't play with me so much, so that's why I want to play with other people, But, I do enjoy a good story, and I do, but I need that feeling, I need that run and gun and be able to take down a target with and get that loot with the friends that I'm playing with, and if this game offers that, then I'm for sure in on that.
Yeah, if you like the language that Golden's talking, you can certainly check out the DZR Discord, and you can go to the site, which is darkzonereport.com, if you're curious about checking that out. Because I think that if you're in that community, you're probably all sitting there nodding your head, going yes, yes, yes. That's why I'm here, man. And of course, if you're not really there, you might virtually be there. And Sony have been nailing this idea of VR. They've announced a release date of Sony VR being October 13th, so we do have a date, and we have titles. They had Resident Evil. Golden, are you an old school Resident Evil fan? Do you get along with those old games?
I played the original. I played the first one, and it actually scared me. The ones after that, I haven't been. I've kind of fell off the wagon with that, but I will, and hear me on this. I will be buying that Resident Evil VR for sure.
Yeah. Do you think VR, Binary? Do you think VR is this the perfect match, like to be scared the shit out of?
Well, not necessarily scared, but yeah, definitely it's a sensory deprivation, isn't it? Really, because you're just all you have is a visual representation, and that's all that's needed to throw your senses for over a cliff.
Yeah.
So I think that's what VR will do, right? It will.
Do you see yourself in your lounge room playing Resident Evil on Sony VR?
In my man cave, not in my lounge. I'll probably knock my kid over.
Yeah. That's the thing. I mean, I'm as excited for VR as the next guy, and I'm actually going off one of my mates who's been working with the HTC Vive. He works for a mobile phone company, and he's been talking about his experiences with that. And actually, I think I mentioned it to some of you gents offline with some of the adult material, and just as a trial run, I think it was provided by the provider, and it. The one word he used was jarring. It's just, it's an escape, and I think Sony are really kind of nailing it with this. They're farming off big properties into avenues of virtual reality, and just having like this microcosm, like this small piece of a larger game become VR. Did you guys see the Battlefront X-Wing? Golden, did you see the Battlefront X-Wing demo?
Absolutely, I did, sir.
What the hell, man?
Again, this VR thing, if they're really touting, what they're saying it's going to be, then we are in for a complete change in the dynamic of gaming. Not only are we getting, this great sci-fi story from Star Wars, but we're immersed. We're going to be flying an X-wing, and I don't know if you guys played Battlefront, but it was. Yeah, I didn't play much of it, but what I did play was the actual dog fighting. The X-wing fighters and everything, and we actually had some friends, some JUI friends, playing, and we got in, and it was a blast. And you get in the Millennium Falcon, or you get into X-wing, or you get into a TIE fighter. And you're dog fighting, and it's just, it's a lot of fun. But to be able to do that in a VR world, in space, oh man, that is amazing. I just really, I really hope it works out, man. I really want it to.
It's just a whole new meaning to the cockpit view, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man.
So we'll see how it fares. I didn't get the feel for how on rails it was. How much what the elements of control there are to it. But it seems to be. I guess the trick right now, they've got to sell us VR. I'm not personally sold on it because I know that I can't sit in, as Binary said, I can't sit in my lounge room with a helmet on my face. Generally speaking, maybe at some obscure hour, by which point I'd probably fall asleep with it on my head. but these are the things that I think are going to work. These small activities, like a mission in that. And of course, the other one was Batman Arkham. October 26, you're going to be able to put on the Batman mask.
Which is pretty amazing.
And the crowds go wild.
Yeah. I mean, that's being able to the combat system and the other ones were so brutal and so, just, the combos and everything. In a VR setting, with Batman, again, it's like, for me, and other people will probably, that's going to be a big deal but, that's a big deal for me, like the Star Wars thing. I love it. I think that it's really going to be able to give people a different look at games and really bring it to life. It's going to bring your favorite game to life, or your favorite character to life, your favorite universe to life.
Yeah, it's back to the childhood stuff again, isn't it? It's like sitting on your roof with your cape, jumping off, hoping to fly. It's awesome stuff.
Absolutely, yeah.
Of course, the game that they ended on with the VR experience, I think it segued. Maybe I missed it, but from my understanding, what I was trying to get was, I think Final Fantasy 15 was announced. 30th of September 2016 was the release, but they introduced it with a VR experience, which I was impressed. Like, I think it looked gorgeous. I just didn't know what it was at first, and then suddenly I realized, because I'm not familiar with some of the characters. In terms of Final Fantasy 15, did you guys see the VR? What were your impressions? Binary, what were you thinking?
Well, Final Fantasy 15 looks like it's going to be a stunning game. So I've seen gameplay on PS4 and Xbox, and in next generation graphics, it looks stunning. Yeah. The gameplay looks clean, and I'm a big fan of the franchise. So yeah, I cannot wait for this to come out at all. I wish they were doing an early release beta, really.
This is not an MMO, is it? This is.
No, they're not. But sometimes they release the gameplay as like a.
Yeah.
And I wish they would, just to be able to get it sooner. But the Final Fantasy realm in VR would be incredible. Absolutely incredible, because Square Enix do a beautiful job with Final Fantasy. They really do. And in VR that would just be incredible. Walk up to a chocobo and give it a little rub.
Yeah. Get those feathers, man.
Oh my goodness, Golden, are you gonna give a chocobo a rub, or?
I mean, it's either that or the goat. I'd rather chocobo, but I'll take the.
When in Rome.
Absolutely, bud. I'm in.
Oh dear, but that's coming 30th of September. But of course, one of Golden's other favourites is Call of Duty. Now this game surprised me because I didn't realise, I think I might have missed the bumper when it started, or they just started without one. But coming 4th of November, as per normal, Call of Duty does usually launch around November, is Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. We've heard about this already, and we've seen some trailers. But I do have to admit, up until the point, it's funny, I'm that guy who goes, oh, Call of Duty. But the trailer, as I watched it, I was sitting there going, yes, I give me the gun. Golden, what did you think?
It looks amazing. Again, yeah. I started with Modern Warfare, which they're remastering and bringing back.
Yes!
The gameplay on it, the mechanics and the build, it looks like, and I really hate to say this, but it has a little Destiny kind of esque to it. They're sci-fi, and I think that's really cool. But my biggest question is they're calling it Infinite Warfare, correct?
Yeah. Okay,
so does that mean that we're looking at something that we can build, that we can grind, that we can, of course you'll be able to co-op, of course there'll be PvP there, so that's without, saying, but I always felt like those games had a little lack of depth, but then Black Ops 3, had the Easter eggs and all that stuff, so, I think if they bring that Call of Duty out with those mechanics from Black Ops, and the story mode and graphics and VR, I could go back to Call of Duty.
Yeah, I haven't touched it, I think, since probably Black Ops 1, I think, was my last Call of Duty. So I've been out of the loop for a while. It kind of scares me because you just know how good those players are. But yeah, that trailer, like, the guy exits the Starfighter, goes into orbit, continues to kill enemies whilst in orbit, uses a grapple hook, grapples guys to him, snaps their neck, attaches a grenade to them, kicks them away to the... what? What is going on? So I got a bit excited. I won't deny that. So I'm very, very interested to see how it goes. And I didn't really look into the title like you just said there, Golden. That's a good point. Like, as in Infinite Warfare, is there something else behind that in terms of the mechanics and the RPG and, the grind, so to speak?